My second TV show is live now, soon to be on Amazon Prime. In that TV show, I talk about my life, my experience, and why I think it's important that one of my missions in life when I left corporate America is to rebuild the middle class. I like to compete with billionaires because I'm a retired CPA, and I have a business now that has saved double a billionaires in tax planning services, and my clients saved an average of $145,000 in 2025. Hi, my name is Jacqueline Matoza. I am a retired CPA, worked with Fortune 25 billionaires that made these companies, and I left corporate America to start my own companies and rebuild the middle class. Let's talk about the problems that are happening in the middle class. There are 4 issues that I personally am very passionate about and feel very strongly about on why the middle class got killed and how I feel responsible for it. So let's dive in. First of all, let's talk about how the whole landscape of everything has completely changed. Politics now, it's not just government and politicians running our governments, it's actually the billionaires and the corporations, the Fortune 500s to be specific. Why is this a problem and killed the middle class? Because now lobbyists are taking over and they are buying politicians and forcing their exact plans that they want and also getting government contracts, which means they're taking your hard paying tax dollars and putting it back in their pockets. So now they are basically Nepo babies and they're making themselves super rich. So this is the problem. They're taking your hard-earned money that should be going to Social Security and taking it and putting it in their pockets. And now Social Security is being borrowed against and it's no longer there. So we have government policies being controlled by lobbyists for the billionaires and the corporations. I mean, we saw this when Elon Musk went in to work for Doge. Let's talk about that. And we also have monopolies that are happening now that are no longer being broken up. Back in the 60s to the 80s, they broke up a ton of monopolies. We saw all the bells get broken up into Baby Bell, Pac Bell, South Bell, this bell, that bell. And that was a huge ordeal. And it really separated the power and the control over our government. But no one is breaking those monopolies up anymore. Why? Because we have lobbyists who are paid by billionaires and C corporations paying our politicians. So politics are no longer independent. They're no longer free and clear. We do not have a government with proper checks and balances anymore, right? We have the fiduciary, judiciary, and executive branches. They're not functioning anymore. And basically everybody's bought. And the people at the top, politicians, billionaires, and C Corps are working together. Case in point, Nancy Pelosi made like 16,390% in stock trades in 2025. Like, this is called insider trading, yet no one is stopping this stuff. We no longer have a government authority that is making sure they're independent. So this is the first problem. This is what's killing the middle class, because as billionaires keep getting more government contracts and C corporations all have 9 figures in government contracts, they're becoming more and more powerful, which leads to the trillionaire that was just made last week, Elon Musk, and how he's the first trillionaire ever. How did he do this? He went into Doge. He saw exactly the issues and then gave Trump solutions and got a ton of government contracts. Okay, so back to my first point. But the problem with a trillionaire being made, he now has more power than our government. He now owns the world. He can buy the world because he has the money and he has a lot of power and influence, and he no longer is beholden to the American politics. He can go and work with any country. He can go and do whatever he wants because America can't stop him. He's more powerful than our government. He has more cash and stocks, bonds, mutual funds than our government, okay? Our government is printing cash because they have none. So if you missed that memo. So the problem with a trillionaire being made is, first and foremost, not only is he a Nepo baby and taking money from our government, your taxpayer money that's getting stolen from Social Security, he also is taking money from average Americans whose wages are going down annually since 2006. Pull the data. The inflation and cost of living, you make less today in 2026 than you did in 2006, okay? The 07 and 08 crash was very engineered by very, very powerful people, and they wanted to steal money out. What did they do? They fired a third of the workforce and forced everyone to do not one job, but 2 to 3 jobs, right? They consolidated roles and made people ride out the downturn, but guess what? They never rehired people. So your wages have gone down since 2006. And where are they going? The CEOs are taking the money, the C-level people, CEOs, CFOs, all the C-suite, the board of directors. Let's talk about this. This is data-driven. This is not my opinion. In the 1960s, CEO pay to employee pay ratio was 20 to 1. In 1990, it almost 2.5x to 3.5x to 70 to 1, okay? And now in 2025, it's 200 to 1. They are making 200 times the average employee's pay. That's why we have a trillionaire. And yet, when this guy made his trillions, everyone's like, oh, the cafeteria lady's a millionaire. And we saw these memes online about a young guy dating like the old cafeteria lady. Look, guys, this is serious because I can tell you from the 2000s, like 1990s, all the way up until the dot-com bubble burst, their cafeteria ladies and janitors were millionaires. So really, it's not exciting to be like, oh, I'm a cafeteria person and I made $1 million. Guys, wake up. This has been going on since 2000. Okay, and it's 2025, 2026 now, and these people are stripping money. We had a CEO get in front of Congress and say, yes, I only had enough money to give my employees a 1% wage when he paid himself an 8-figure raise that year. The money is available. You are not their priority, and therefore our middle class is dying. What keeps a country healthy? A strong middle class. Keeps the economy healthy, it keeps everything in checks and balances, and as they squeeze the educated people out, right? A lot of people have college degrees and aren't making 6 figures. As they squeeze the educated people out, they increase the number of people who have an average education of 6th grade now in America. They are now able to do this and nobody knows it's happening. You feel it. You feel it every day. You go to the grocery store, you're like, man, I have like 7 things and my bill's $200, $100. That's because of this. They are not paying you, which takes me to my third point. But in the meantime, what you guys need to realize is this trillionaire, this is not a good thing. This is not a good thing because you know how he made his trillions of dollars? SpaceX IPO was a debt bailout. A debt bailout. They were going bankrupt, you guys, and nobody knows this because nobody's looking at the financials because it's a private company. You don't know. But if you understand economics, a space company can't make money because how are they selling anything? They're not selling rides to Mars yet. So when you have a debt bailout, who bailed them out? Goldman Sachs. Who did Goldman Sachs get to fund this first tranche of IPO payment out? Your retirement accounts that are in Vanguard, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, JP Morgan, all these companies who own your retirement accounts and your mutual funds who bought into SpaceX. For a trillionaire to be made and a cafeteria lady to be a millionaire, which is nothing now, you in 3 days went down in value 600 billion. That means your money from your retirement account gone and lined his pockets. You should be mad about this because you didn't have a choice and you probably didn't even know you owned SpaceX. But I guarantee you, if you go look at one of the mutual funds in your retirement account, SpaceX IPO is in there. I promise you. And if you didn't, you're lucky. You're one of the few because they just took more money from people who are losing money. Now they took your retirement account. because they control the companies. Now the lobbyists can go and say, Vanguard, you can buy a tranche and then sell a tranche for you and keep it in the retirement accounts. This is how they work, guys. These IPOs are backed by investment bankers and people who have pension funds, retirement funds. They buy into these things because there's a hope and a prayer and a dream that a space company, which NASA was a government-funded company, not a profit company, is going to make money somehow. So because you don't know, you lost $600 billion, you America, everyday hardworking Americans, where your CEO is making 200 times your pay, made this trillionaire. So celebrate that. If you want to celebrate something, celebrate your loss, and he took it from you. And clap at that. That's what you're effectively clapping at when you're like, yeah, America, capitalism. No, this is a dictatorship. This is, and I'm not getting political, this is a statement. When you have people at the top, 14 of them have more money, minus Elon Musk, have more money than our government. How many billionaires live in America? Over 600. Do the math. They control our government. So as long as we allow lobbyists, as long as we allow career politicians, right? Only the president supposedly has a 2-term, which is trying to get changed right now. We have no checks and balances, okay? This is a problem because what are they doing? They're stealing from you. This is the most recent example of them stealing out of your pocket and you don't even know they're doing it. You have no idea. None. This is why when you look at Fidelity and all your retirement accounts, what do your certified financial planners do? They put you in, they set it, they forget it, they collect their fees every year, collect, they do nothing. Market goes up, market goes down. It takes you 10 years to climb out, 6 to 10 years to climb out of a recession from 07 and 08, okay? And you sat there and allowed it. But if you asked your CFP, did you hold through the downturn? They would say, no, I sold high, bought low. But they have firm policies that do not allow them to trade you out at the high. They didn't take your 401k money and move it into cash. Like they moved their whole portfolios. So every single day, this number is getting bigger. This number for you, your retirement account, is getting sucked up by rich people who want money just to collect money. They don't care about you. So when you're working with these big brokerage firms, be careful because they have messages from the top and those messages from the top trickle down to you. They're not independent. They don't have your best interest. Yet my retirement account is managed by a private registered investment advisor, and every 2.5 years, it doubles. When the market goes down, I don't lose a dime. When Berkshire Hathaway traded out, they traded me out of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and put me in commodities and cash. So they copy what the billionaires are doing because they're independent and they know if they don't make me money, I'm gonna leave because I have demands, that standard of living, because I've seen it. I've seen other people's retirement accounts double every 2.5 years, 3 years. So why can't mine? I just have to find the right advisors. So this is the problem. You don't know what billionaires are making. You don't know the standard, which gets me to my third point. If we have a trillionaire now, why are you making $1 million salary? Why are you not making $1 million salary? $1 million is nothing. A starter home is $1 million. When my grandpa bought his house in 1968, he bought it for $68,000 and he made $68,000 a year in his own company. That's not happening anymore. They've convinced everyday Americans that 6 figures is a lot of money. I remember someone coming to me and being like, oh my God, I make $150,000. You shouldn't talk to me like that. And I started laughing. I laughed in their face. It was a bartender down at the Wynn who was trying to tell the valet guy she could go to the front because she made $150,000 and she was 21. God bless her. She doesn't understand what wealthy is. That is new money who is going to literally spend all their money for people on Section 8 to impress them. And they're gonna lose their entire net worth. Like, why would you spend your money to convince people on Section 8 or your broke family that you're rich? It doesn't make sense. But this is what Americans have as a standard. 6 figures is a lot of money. 6 figures is trash, and you have a trillionaire who's proving it. You have over 3,500 billionaires almost around the world. It's a little less. I don't get it. I don't get what it's gonna take for Americans to realize they are killing our middle class. This is why my mission, one of my 3 missions, is to rebuild the middle class, because this is a problem and you guys don't realize it and you're allowing it. The only ones who are not allowing it, Gen Z. Just got off a sales call today, 22-year-old sold their company for $120 million to DoorDash. He's locked up for 4 years in DoorDash and he's mad because he wants to do it again, but he can't because he sold his company to DoorDash and they locked him in for 4 years in a consulting contract. That is what Gen Zers are demanding. Yeah, everybody else can make fun of them sitting in their basements. Oh, they're living in their mom and dad's basement, blah, blah, blah. You know what? They're doing something with their lives. They are not going to work for $100,000 pay. They are not going into corporate America because corporate America doesn't even pay their rent on an apartment. So when they demand more than 100 grand, wake up, millennials, Gen Xers, wake up. This is happening. And it's you guys who are allowing it and carrying on. If you band together and everyone walks out, like we're starting to see unions form around Amazon, because it's getting ridiculous. They squeeze them so bad, they have to band together. This is what has to start happening. You cannot support these companies anymore. You need to go and figure out how to do what you're doing and consult for them. Go build a government contract. If you're doing drones, AIs, you could have a government contract making 9 figures, no problem. You just need to know how. And that's the problem. They keep this information for them. They hide it from you. Only a few people know how to do government contracts because that's top secret information. But you have to stop with the 6 figures is a lot of money. It's not. Everyone needs to be making $1 million. When the average starter home is $1 million, and David Ramsey, who tells everyone to go buy a house, is saying houses are no longer affordable. This is why. Why is this happening? Because of boomers, guys, boomers. You see this? Bright blue. They are the problem. And people are allowing them to be the problem. They're not retiring. They're not going away. They're not passing power. They're holding power. Let's talk about it. Stats, not my opinion. 79.9% of real estate is owned by boomers. 70% of the stock market is owned by boomers. 54% of commodities, oil, gas, gems, platinum, nickel, plutonium, titanium, boomers. Boomers own everything. Everything. And no one is breaking up the monopolies. No one is stopping the hedge funds. No one is stopping the private equity firms. No one's stopping BlackRock. No one's stopping these people, you guys. And this is the problem. This is why we have no middle class. This is why I have to educate people and bring it to your lights that this is data. Go Google it. It comes up right away. I'm not lying. It's data. And this data is fact. And this is why you're complaining that you cannot afford anything. This is why you're upset. They can just go and decide, I'm gonna go make a war happen. I'm gonna just go blow up a freaking Middle East country with no checks and balances, no real proper politics. Our Constitution is now being challenged. Our 22nd Amendment, where a president can only have 2 terms, is being questioned. Everything is being questioned. This is no longer a democracy. This is no longer capitalism at all. This is ran by trillionaires now and billionaires. And this is what you guys have to realize. It's a problem. Big problem. And these are the people to blame. And I don't care, boomers. You can say you're not the problem. But it started in 1965 with our food processing industry, and don't get me started. I will talk days for this, about how they have damaged everything. And I get it, not all boomers are terrible. I'm not generalizing, I'm just putting out stats that they are in control of every market, every industry, everything that we could possibly ever get into, yet Gen Zers are the entitled ones. Gen Zers are the problem, is what we hear. They're the problem. No, they're not the problem. They have every right to want to stay in their parents. I read a statistic that said 78% of Gen Zers living in their parents' house have jobs. They are doing what they have to do, which is live at home because they can't afford to live, because they're starting their own businesses so they can sell them to DoorDash for $120 million. They can literally start a card to cash business making 8 figures. These are my clients. These are my real clients making real businesses, and they're Gen Zers. And I'm bullish on Gen Z. I think Gen Z is our future, and they are the only ones who have a backbone to go against this. Now that my rant is over about the problems of what's happening to our middle class, let's talk about how I plan to rebuild the middle class and why this TV show was so personally important to me. I have worked with billionaires, 8 figures, Fortune 25 earners my entire life. I have advised them in tax planning. I've watched how they systematically manage their money and how they build their wealth. And it is super important to me to not line their pockets anymore, to not help them, and to come out and help people like you. And this is why I built the TV show, sharing my experience about how I'm not from money and I am self-made, and I did spend a lot of time studying and learning them and helping them implement things. So what am I doing and how am I planning to help the middle class? There's 3 ways. I educate people, I mentor people, and I provide services, okay? And these are really important because as I grow in my brand and as I keep doing more things and getting more knowledge out there, once you hear something, you cannot forget it. You're gonna think about me for the rest of your life, and that's why education is so important. Americans have a 6th grade education. We have now systematically proven that Gen Z is the first generation to not outsmart their parents since the early 1900s. This is the problem. They have literally used our schooling system to be an experiment. And billionaires don't want intelligent people because then they challenge and stand up and revolt and boycott, okay? And I'm not saying Gen Zers aren't smart. I'm saying this is psychologically, systematically studied and proven. Again, I don't give my opinions very often. My rant was a lot of my thoughts and my feelings about it, but there was data behind it. So let's talk about this. I educate people. Knowledge is power, okay? When you know something and you know it's true through data, because numbers don't lie, you now realize that things are based on facts. My content is all based on data and legal facts. I give you everything. If you keep going through my funnels, I will give you the code sections. I will give you everything. I have nothing to hide and everything to share and gain by helping give knowledge and power out. How do I plan to educate people? I teach them about real estate because real estate is huge. 90% of people made their millions on real estate. This is the #1 driver of people making their worth because they move into their primary residence and over 50 years, that real estate is now worth $1 million. Finances. We are not taught money in school. We are not taught any of this. And I can tell you that because I got a degree, an undergraduate degree in accounting, and I was like, okay, I know the basics, but like, what does it mean in real life? Like textbooks are so mathematically formulated. So let's talk about practical finance. How do you pay off a mortgage on a rental property so you can refinance out and buy more? How do we do this with other people's money? Money is important. Taxes, again, we're not taught yet. Everybody has to pay them. And if you're not taught and you don't know how to work them, you don't know how to put them to work for you. I talk about legal things. I call it legal-ish because I'm not a lawyer and I am not barred, so I can't give legal advice. But what I can do is say, guys, this is how it's generally done. Then you guys can go and call a lawyer and they'll be like, yes, that's what people do. Okay, so why is it important to educate people? My first and foremost plan in life is to educate people. Educate anyone and everyone who will listen. That's why I build my content. YouTube has long form content. You can watch hours of my content about how to rig your taxes. And that's the first thing I learned in corporate America. Anything and everything when it comes to money, finances, real estate, you can literally rig your output. And rig it if you're patient enough, if you understand it well enough, if you know how to do it. You can rig your finances, you can rig your credit, you can rig your tax bill, you can decide. And when you realize you can take control over these things, you can buy real estate and at closing have no money in the deal. I've closed and gotten money back. Think about that. I closed on a property and I got money back in my pocket. Think about that. So when you know that you can rig the system, if you understand math and numbers, this is the power. This is how you're going to realize that education is absolutely mission critical and absolutely vital. And when you hear that I closed on a real estate deal and got money back in my pocket, I rig my tax bill. I pick what I want to pay each year, and I know how to make it go away. This is why I follow what billionaires do. I left my corporate job and got self-employed. I own a business. I invest in real estate and I invest in mining operations, just like them. It's the same three-part thing. And you use a Rubik's Cube calculator with different deductions to keep the money in your pocket, because there's two ways to make money. You either make more or you keep more. Robert Kiyosaki, keep more. How do you keep more? If you pay less in taxes, you have more money in your pocket. If that money that you put in your pocket is now in an investment, you now have a new investment income stream. So now you have two added up cycles to your net worth. You save more money and now you're making more money. This is what people do. And I have to get this information out to you guys because no one is teaching this. Everyone talks about it, but no one actually breaks it down for you guys for free, which is all I'm doing. Second, I mentor people. If people want to pay to come into my real estate courses, my CPA EA tax planning class, my mindset reframing, the biggest thing in my life that I did between 29 and 36 is I paid for trauma therapy. I paid over 200 grand on myself. I reinvested money into myself because I wanted to find inner peace. I wanted to find prosperity. I wanted to find a way to get out of survival mode. I wanted to find a way to wake up and just feel happy and at peace and grateful for my life and enjoy my life. But I recognize that my family has a trauma bond to chaos. My family has a trauma bond to being poor. My family has bonds to these things that I have to cut and stop with me. And the only way to do that is to reframe. So I am a licensed coach. I do teach people how to do real estate acquisitions with little to no money down. I teach CPAs and EAs how to do tax planning. Why? Because we talked about boomers earlier. 70% of CPAs are going to retire in the next 10 years, which means 70% of CPAs are boomers. So someone needs to educate the few people left over, the 30% left over, how to use AI, how to do more tax returns quicker, how to do tax planning, okay? And that's what I'm trying to do, because a CPA is your number one advisor. If they're giving you bad advice because they weren't trained properly, you're gonna always lose out. And I talk about mindset because mindset is 80% of the battle. It's not this manifest woo-woo stuff. It's literally, how do you learn power dynamics? How do you learn in negotiations how to shift the room, the energy in the room? How do you take back control? How do you give control? How do you manage things and understand that your mindset in any moment is going to change the rest of your life? If you're not happy with your life today, it's because of decisions you made in the past. It's not because of anything else. So these are the mentorship programs I have. I don't solicit them openly, but I do have them and I do them. I have a real estate university where I teach people with a lot of university mentors, not just me. I brought a group of people together because real estate has so many niches and I'm not an expert in all the niches. So I bring in experts. But these are the things that I'm doing. I'm going to build other universities pretty soon. But again, you can only put so much into building and you need to make money. So I have services. I do tax planning for self-made millionaires. I have a whole firm. I have 55 consultants that work for me, and we build out how to help self-made millionaires. You deal with me. When you talk to me on the sales call, you're not talking to other people. I hate that when you go to buy somebody's services and it's somebody else. These are very select. It's for self-made millionaires or people on their way to being millionaires. I give fractional CFO positions into certain companies. I'm willing to take on a CFO role. And so I do fractional CFO services with the people behind me who help. And then I also do board of advisors seats for up and coming people who want to do private equity plays, people who are trying to get more understanding of money, taxes, and how to hack this system, just given my experience from working and advising and talking to board members since I was 23. What do they look at? What do they need to know? What are the pitfalls? I've told a lot of people like, hey, if you don't get your cash flow under control, you're not going to be in business next year. They called me. They're not in business. This is why I didn't take a CFO role for them. This is why I didn't do a board of advisor role or a private equity role. So this is what I do. This is how I make my money. This is how I give back. And this is what's important to me. These are my mission in life and why I went on this TV show. Like, this TV show is very personal. I don't know any CPAs. I have 2 TV shows. My first one was on HGTV, and now I have this one that's going to be on Amazon Prime. Very big networks, guys. This isn't like fake talk. I'm doing things and I'm not even trying. People are asking me to be on their TV shows. And there's a reason, and it's because my mission and my purpose is so big, and my give back is bigger than my take. And even in my tax planning service, I have a 2x fee guarantee. I want to be a profit center for you like I was for billionaires. My average fee last year was $31,000, but my average client made and saved in taxes $145,000 and had an average future cash flow of $72,000. So that means their investments were going to earn them $72,000 the next year and the year after that and the year after that and the year after that. So I'm here to be a profit center for you guys. I'm here to make you money. If you don't know how to make money and you're not ready to pay for mentorship or services, we have education online. That's why we built the content. And so hopefully you guys find my content informational. Hopefully it helps you. Hopefully learning about what's going on behind the scenes that billionaires laugh about on their yachts, like the SpaceX IPO. No one I know bought into it. No one, because it's a deadbeat horse. It's a debt bailout. People know that. They would never put their money on it. They might put it in and then sell it right away, but they're locked up. You can't sell right now. You have a 90-day cool off. So nobody really that I know bought in. And this is why I want to share the information that I have, because my content may not be flashy. I don't show you on private jets. I don't show you on yachts because my clients don't want that shown. My friends don't want that shown. So I keep things simple, and I just want you guys to realize, like, I'm self-made. I'm super proud of my journey. It was not an easy journey. I felt like every time I started to make progress, the rug was pulled out from underneath me. And every time I thought I was getting somewhere, I really got a huge setback. And so, I think I'm just an everyday American who fought to get here. And I was a self-made millionaire by 27 and a multimillionaire by 32 by following my tax planning services that my clients did. And the advice that I gave them, I gave myself. I started on a salary at 21 of $52,000 when I started at the firm. So hopefully you guys find this informative. Hopefully when I say things, you realize knowledge is power. You're going to be thinking about, how did she buy the house get cash back? How do you do it with little to no money down? There's a lot of strategies in a lot of ways, and we're entering a real estate market where you're going to be able to do this a lot. And so we are going to start kicking our events back up. And starting to re-educate people on real estate particularly. These are evergreen forever. Mindsets select few. I interview you. I see if you're willing to change, because really I can't change you. You have to be wanting to change. And then my services, these are all on my website. You can apply to get tax planning help and learn how to, change your wealth very quickly. I started on a $52,000 salary. When I left my firm, I was making 108, so I didn't make a lot of money, guys, but somehow I was able to do it. And I did it through real estate. I started in real estate, I moved into oil and gas, and now I have my businesses that have compounded amazingly. So hopefully this is informative. Click the link below if you want to learn more and you want help. This is what I'm here for. You'll be dealing with me, not my staff. If you're doing services here we have a team of people you'll be working with. But that's my goal and my hope and my dream is that you guys live the life you want to live, the way you want to live it, and that's freedom. And freedom looks different for everyone. So click the link below if you want more help.